Every year, I usually introduce kind of a new approach into the presentation as I talk about teens and sex. And I wish I could say that I was smart enough to know when I was introducing this new approach or concept or analogy, that it was so thought out that I knew it was going to be great. And I consider it actually a God thing, just where I get the analogies and the approaches from. And it's not until after I start getting letters back from the students that I realize the impact that analogy or that approach actually had on them. And so a couple years ago, it was the whole protector versus the predator thing. And oftentimes I have to define the words for them. And I'll say a predator is somebody who preys upon the weaknesses of another person for their own selfish gain. And I said, if you know as a young man that the young lady, has low self-esteem, or she's been raped and molested, or there's some reason she's having sex that has nothing to do with you or love, then you're being a predator. And I started getting letters from young man after young man saying, when you talked about the statistics and you talked about the physical consequences, I was like, yeah, statistics can make anything look bad. But that didn't really get to me. But what got to me was when you talked about the protector, the predator. And they said, because I want to be a protector. So this past year, the concept that I introduced was just talking about the difference between being selfish and being selfless. I mean, sounds simple enough, right? So again, I had to define what selfish is. And I said, selfish is when you make a decision that benefits you, even though it hurts somebody else. And I said, as I think about it, that kind of sounds like teen sex to me. It kind of sounds like, you're making a decision that you get pleasure from, but yet that there's a possibility that a baby could be conceived. And now that baby will have to pay for the choice that you made. And I said, that sounds selfish to me. And so then I started getting letters from teenagers talking about, please don't ever leave that out. That was the powerful part for me. So let me read you a couple of those letters. So the first one says, your talk helped change my views about me having protected or unprotected sex at a young age. I now see how really selfish it is to put myself in a position where I may bring someone in this world I would not be able to take care of. The second letter says, I appreciate what you do. I always thought that I wanted to lose my virginity with the guy I loved and dated for at least 2 years, maybe around junior or senior year in high school. That was before I first heard you speak in the 8th grade. After hearing you for a second time this year, I now know for a fact that I won't be having sex in high school nor in college because I know how selfish that would be. And see, we always talk about teenagers being selfish, and I'm not saying they're not selfish in some area. But what I've found is when you talk to them about what do you want for your future kids, and do you want your kids to have a better life than you have, that has a bigger impact on them than you trying to scare them out of having sex because they might get an STD. And I would have never thought that when I started doing this. But there was another part of the whole selfish and selflessness that I started introducing as well about, the whole real love part. And that when I ask teenagers, how do they know when they love somebody? I hear stuff like, because, he knows everything about me. It's a feeling that we get. I can talk to him about anything. We can complete each other's sentences. And you know what that is? It's chemistry. And unfortunately, that's what most teenagers settle for, is chemistry. And I tell them, I said, that's a part of love. And it's just not the most important part. I said, the most important part of love is the selfless nature of love, where he will always do what's best for you, or she will always do what's best for you. And because they don't want to hurt you. And so then I started getting letters from teenagers who said that was what resonated with them. So this young lady says, I like what you said about the selflessness of love. It helped me affirm the positive nature of my own relationship. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year and we rarely even kiss. Still, we are very happy. And though we don't find each other faultless, your speech made me realize that because we both support each other and will drop everything for the other, what we have is much better than any relationship based on just physical passion. Keep including that part because it resonated the most with me. And you know what? This is the kind of stuff that I share in the book that I just wrote called The 7 Secrets Guys Will Never Tell You, a teen girl's guide on love, sex, and relationships. And because I want girls to know that there are guys out there who will be selfless, guys who understand that that's what real love is. So there's information at the end of this video on how you can purchase the book. And you will get all the information that girls who are in my classes get to hear from me, but not just hear from me, hear from the other students. There are over 100 letters in the book, with excerpts from letters in the book from teen girls and teen guys. And there's also a bonus section, some bonus video footage in the book, where there's a link at the bottom of at the end of the chapters where the girls can go watch a video of, so they don't just have to take my word for it, they can actually see a guy talking about the 7 secrets. It's a very powerful book, very powerful videos.